And welcome to another episode of More Contentious Conversations with the Average Black Man. And today I have my lovely, lovely co host, Morphine the God. Say hello to the people. Yes, 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 yes.
What's
Yes,
up?
yes.
What's up, everybody? This is Jen Wonderful and the God Morphine, the God, coming to you with another episode. Our last episode for the season.
Oh, yeah.
This is
We're going to take a holiday break, but I don't celebrate those pagan holidays.
oh, here this guy go. Here this guy go.
No, I was just messing with them dudes that be on that stuff. Them conscious community dudes be talking that cap. They be kibbity capping, kibbity cap.
Mm-hmm. But
They be,
happy holidays for those that are celebrating. Happy Christmas and happy New Year's
happy
Eve.
Kwanzaa,
And New
happy
Year's
Kwanzaa. No, we black.
Kwanzaa. You
Look.
know.
Happy Kwanzaa. We on some. I had to theme
Yeah.
my shirt for the show. You know what I mean? Because
Oh yeah.
today's show is a decent topic. I believe. It's
Mm-hmm.
pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on, average man? In the comments, I see you. Good evening. Good evening.
How you
Good
doing?
evening.
How you doing?
Yes, indeed. But today's conversation that we are having today is we're asking the question: is preference really just prejudice in disguise? Ooh, I wish I had a little thing for that.
Yeah, what happened to the creepy? I guess that don't go
I don't
with
know.
it.
Yeah.
Look,
But
the creepy
but
joint.
that's what we're getting down on. So let me pull up the good old notes so I can get some of these
So we
some of
could we
these
could start off with the
uh,
description of today's show because
yeah,
that's what we like to start off with the
yeah,
description of today's show.
at what point in society did we evolve to nearly see all of human behavior as a political view of some type? You know what I mean? Like all of this identity politics and like everything we do is political now. Everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It seems like even the defense of your own personal preferences could be, you can get stamped with the ism or a phobic, you know. It's like, why you don't like cheeseburgers? You cheeseburger phobic. Because I don't
Yeah.
like cheeseburgers. You cheeseburger phobic. That's just
Jesus,
yeah,
probably.
that's just a ridiculous example I was given to show how ridiculous it is. You know what I mean? You know,
You know, we get it, we get it.
not wanting to date someone of a certain race is racism. Not wanting to date a person of a certain weight is fat phobic. Even more recently, with the new one, the genital preference. That's now that's transphobic apparently. So
Mm, yeah.
even having a skin tone preference is colorism. So at what point is it really a preference or is it a prejudice in disguise? You know what I mean? What you got to say about
Hmm.
that, sister girl?
I mean, I think that sometimes things may come off as a prejudice once they're used in as a weapon. When you use your preference as a weapon, then it will totally come off as a prejudice. Like if you use you just like in light skinned women, because all these bad nuances for dark skinned women, instead of just liking someone because they are that person, they just happen to be fucking light skinned, then that's when things come to a prejudice. And I think that it is a fine line and a slippery slope between a prejudice and a preference. And I mean, come on now, like how you discriminate or give a group the character traits just based off of vanity. I don't understand that.
And even with that, like I think the prejudice in that comes in is I light skinned girls are better than dark skinned, or dark skinned girls are better. You know what I mean? Like, and they're better. Well,
Mhm.
what's wrong with light skinned girls? Well, I don't like light skinned girls because like, what was your boy Kodak Black was like? I don't like dark skinned girls because dark skinned girls is too rough and like, knock it off. Like that.
It's the
That's
perception of, yeah, that's when it becomes a
yeah, and that's not
prejudice
even
because
yeah, that's a prejudice, a
you gave it a
negative
perception
connotation.
that it didn't necessarily need, you know?
Yep.
I don't
Gave it
know.
a negative connotation, absolutely made it a prejudice.
Mhm, mhm. I think that's when it becomes a prejudice when you give it a negative connotation. So, I'm gonna just say this: we got to be careful in our preference. We could prefer to eat apples, but we okay with eating an orange and every apple is, every other.
Yeah, not against eating the orange, you know.
We're
I
not
just not
against eating the
just
orange,
not
but
immune
we
from
prefer
it.
apples. It's not
I'm
against
just
it.
not
But I think the prejudice comes when you're just totally against it, and for whatever reason that you're against it. So let's get into this. Let's
right.
get into this. Open the
I'm in the
notes.
process of getting stuff together, getting stuff populated. I want to come out the gate with something that I seen on tickety tockety, tickety tickety
Oh,
tockety.
tickety tackety boom.
So let me throw this up here because we got to follow within the law. You know, I don't want nobody suing me because I got an opinion about something that they said.
Well, you know how that goes, brother. You know how that goes. You got to be definitely careful how we put out how we critique these content creators because they're sensitive about their art. They're sensitive.
Right. So here we go with the first clip.
Drop a hot take. Okay, racial preference is racist. I was recently dating a guy, and he expressed very aggressively that he would not have intercourse with a black woman because of their hair and skin. And he defended it as it being preference, but really, it's flat out racism.
Play that again. I'm gonna need a read. Play that one more time. It was so fast. It went so fast. I'm still pulling up notes. Damn, our show is all the way at the bottom.
And he drop a hot take. Okay, racial preference is racist. I was recently dating a guy, and he expressed very aggressively that he would not have intercourse with a black woman because of their hair and skin. And he defended it as it being preference, but really, it's flat out racism.
Why a white woman had to say it? I hate that. We know we're straight up prejudice. We
I
know
did
that.
that. I did that on purpose with the woman of a different creed. I did that on purpose because I didn't want because they can come out real quick and be like, of course a black woman gonna say it. They just mad that we don't want them no more. So I had to start with their preference. Those those men that'll remain nameless at the moment.
Mm.
What's going on, Brody? I
Mm.
see, I see in the comments.
Shout out to Brody. Yeah, I mean, when we open up the lines, you should come up here and talk about this preference versus prejudice. But in our description, we said, is prejudice really individuals disguise prejudice? At what point in our society did we ever evolve to see all the human behaviors as a political view of some type? Now, it seems that the defense of one preference has created a worldwide range of phobias. Yeah, I mean, that's what you was talking about, the isms.
Right. The
So,
isms,
in the
right?
preference, in the preference what someone has, how did it become? How does it differentiate between an individual preference and a societal preference?
And that's just the thing. Who determines that?
Yeah.
Because every individual, like what the girl said, I would say that was racist. But she said she dated a guy that said he would absolutely not have intercourse with a woman that was not Caucasian because of their hair and their skin. That's
Right.
that's not a preference. That's
Yeah.
disguising your prejudice.
That's disguising your prejudice. That's putting a mask on a prejudice. So can one actually have a preference outside of standard? Because your preference can be, you can't have like, you got to be brown skin as a standard. That's not a standard. But that becomes a preference. So maybe preferences are prejudices that we dress up in a preference.
I don't
Hence
know.
why people say, I don't got no type. Bad bitch.
Right,
This only thing
no,
I like. I'm just saying.
no. Like a woman saying, I want to date a tall guy. That's a preference. It's not like she's short man phobic. You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
she can say no. It's not like it's a preference is, what do you like? I like tall guys. It's not I only date tall guys. That's a prejudice.
yeah, I can
You
see
can
it
tell
being a
me what you
prejudice.
like,
I
but
can
you
see it
can't
being
tell
a
me what you
prejudice in
only
that way.
you only do, you only date, you only talk to. Then that becomes, a prejudice. I don't know.
Right. So I'm audience, forgive me. I got people walking back and forth in the background. That's why I'm doing this.
It's cool. It's cool.
I'm gonna pull up another link about racial what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say,
A
like
racial preference.
they are
Or a complexion preference, which I never understood that. That was always weird to me. I must say. It was a very weird situation for me for someone to have a skin preference. I understand that it was very popular in the 90s, but I was born in 89, so I'm a millennial. I don't get him. Either you're good, you're good. Even you're not, you're not.
All right. Boom. All right, let's see what we got. Let's see what we got going on right here.
So when people have racial preferences, it's usually not based on reality.
I absolutely agree with this creator, but he's a lot nicer than I'm about to be. Racial preferences are very often rooted in racism. Like this creator talks about, you can find tall people, short people, plus size people, slim people, people of all different characteristics in literally every race. And same with personalities. But the one thing that can distinguish two people with the very same characteristics is race. When people discount entire races of people, it's not usually based on individuals' characteristics. It's usually about stereotypes of that race. And if you're like, well, it's not about stereotypes for me, I just don't like how certain people of a particular race look. That's just racism and prejudice based on Eurocentric ideals. And also phenotypes can dramatically differ among individuals of any race.
Boom. I didn't hear nothing
how about
wrong.
that?
I didn't say. Did you hear something wrong?
I ain't hear nothing wrong. I think I just said that.
I didn't hear nothing wrong
That's
at
just what
all.
I said. She just said it more intelligently
I
than whatever.
I don't have no complaints on what she said just now. That was slapping. Do you want another one? You want another skin tone preference?
Just one, just one more.
All right, this. I found one with a somewhat of a hood exterior to it. You know, little urban. So I want to keep it well rounded. Here's an urban perspective, I'll say.
Like, oh, I see you got a type, light skin, brown skin, skinny, in that range. And they was mad at me. And like, I felt bad, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn, like women make me feel bad about having a type or having a preference.
Why?
Because you're a woman.
What? I mean, what the fuck?
No,
I see you got it.
His homeboy roasted. His homeboy roasted you.
Of course, you gonna run that back.
Oh, you want to run it back? All right.
Come on, let's go.
Got a type, light skin, brown skin, skinny, in that range. And they was mad at me. And like, I felt bad, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn, like women make me feel bad about having a type or having a preference.
Wow.
Because you're a woman.
Because he a woman.
Hey, see.
He said why? Because he a woman. Like, why you
Right.
feel bad
So
because you got a type?
now this is something that you and I being of a more melanated complexion is something that we've experienced in our
Oh no, wait.
actions.
Let me speak on that. Let me speak on that. Let me speak on
Okay,
that.
my bad,
You
my bad.
know, you know who feels a way that a guy has that type? You know the woman that feels a way about that, or the guy that feels a way about that. The person
Oh,
that is that type. They only want to say some shit. You be like, I got a type for light skin. The light skin chick be like, well, why? Why only light skin? Like, they don't, I think because when you start talking to your type about how you only date that type, with that is their preference, they start feeling like they fetishized. Like it's just an obsession. They feel like they are obsession with them.
FYI, men want to be fetishized. We want to find that when people, my homeboy's ex-wife told him, because he started dating, the opposite race of himself, and the opposite race of the color context. And his wife told him, be careful. A lot of those women fetishize black men. And he was like, where they at? Where? Just point me in that direction to where they fetishize me, so I don't got to work so hard, so they can do
I
it
think
for me.
everyone wants what they don't have until they get it, and then it's like, oh, that's all they want me for. That's all you do is want me for sex, or all you do is want me for because of desire. It's not because of who I really am, who I am inside, type shit. Because that's what's going around at the end of 2023. Even though I know we there, we at the end of 2023.
Nah, I think
Yeah,
that's more of a woman. I think that's more of a
no,
woman
it's not.
thought
Stop saying
process.
it's a woman thing when men do
I
it
think
too.
that's a
Unless y'all
woman's
just
process.
calling men bitch ass dudes, then y'all
Oh,
calling some men some bitches. They calling y'all bitches. I'm not going to say that. That's what they saying though.
Men, and this is just my opinion, emphasis on my opinion. I personally believe that men do not have a problem with being fetishized. Men don't have a problem with being desired by women.
I call bullshit because the first thing they say is, "Oh, for nothing, nothing, G. You need me to the table." Bullshit.
Those are dudes that
Bullshit.
have those are exactly the dudes I'm talking about. The dudes that have no luck with women. So would prefer
Ooh, I don't
they would
care
prefer to have a
how
woman be
you
interested
try
in
to
them so they don't have
categorize
to.
those dudes. They
But that's what they
around.
are. That's what they
They
are.
around. They
These the dudes
around.
we constantly call cap on because they be capping. They try to dress up that I have no game, I have no Mac talent, I have no bars, I can't spit no lyrics. So I want to go somewhere and deal with women that's easier to talk to because I don't know what I'm doing. So I want to deal with women that they believe in their mind and their delusion, because it's a delusion, that it's easier for them. And that's where the whole
I'm not
other race
debating that's
women
what it is. I'm not
and that's where
debating
the
that's
whole
not what that is.
that's
That
where the
might
whole
be
argument of
exactly what
other
that
race
is.
women are better. I think that they come with the whole other race women are better because when they say what's the problem with black women, they too masculine, they too mouthy. Okay, so that means you don't know how to stand in your own manhood if you let a woman out masculine you.
Emasculate. Is that a word?
No, I didn't say emasculate. I didn't say emasculate. I said
I
out
said out
masculine.
masculate.
Yeah, out masculine. I've just made up my own
You
phrase.
said masculine. I said out
Yeah,
masculate. Wouldn't that be
yeah.
masculate?
No,
That's what I was saying.
because to emasculate would be for her to strip you of your masculinity. To out
I didn't say
masculine is her out.
emasculate. I said out masculate. Like
Oh
wouldn't
yeah,
it like wouldn't
okay,
it be that?
yeah.
Like would you put
And
that
I keep
suffix
having,
with it?
I
Fucking
keep
asshole.
having.
Ain't my fault that I'm from the East Coast and you can't understand what I'm saying. Anyway. All I'm saying is that there's guys out there They on every social media. They got YouTubes too, talking about how these women ain't offering nothing but some tail, a pretty face, and some cake. That's all. And they ain't baking it. Store bought.
But interesting is
Sometimes,
that those same dudes never talk about what it is they bring to the table. They always talk about what women ain't bringing this woman. Well, what do you have? What are you comparing this woman's, what she's bringing to the table to? Because they'll say, well, men don't care about that. Well, men don't care about this. So if men don't care about this, and this is the argument that you are making, saying that men are the providers and protectors, shouldn't you be presenting the things that you're providing and your ability to protect?
I mean,
But I digress. That's away from the topic. That's away from the topic. We get away from the topic.
yeah. I just started looking like,
You had the light bulb went off.
right. I like,
You had one. You had a. You had one of those moments. But
Eureka.
Karen,
But back to, I think another prejudice is how we for women, how they say they only want a guy that's like 6 feet and she like 5'2". Like, you want a guy that's tall, girl. Everybody around you tall. You short.
hey, there he is in the
Somebody that's
comment.
5'7" is tall to you.
We're
You
gonna get the link
5'1".
going. We're gonna get the link going up probably in another 20 minutes or so. Y'all hang in there. We would just want to get the whole premise out.
You know, that's, I mean, I think that's it'd be like the shortest girls that have the tallest preference. Why you got a tall preference, girl? You short. Everybody's tall to you.
It should just be,
Like, everybody's tall to you.
It should just be taller than you. But okay,
Yeah,
it's a few more links that I got going on. So
come on, let's
I
go
want
get
to go over into into these political ideologies right now, with the
right.
the new preference that they got going on. It's what's called genital preference.
A genital preference.
And what a genital preference means, I had to look it up. What it means is that you prefer to have intimate relations with a particular set of genitalia. So the argument is that I, as a man, if I prefer to have intercourse with, a woman that has something similar shaped to this, that I am I'm transphobic because women have penises too, end quote. That's their argument.
There is, and I quote, there are no such thing as chicks with dicks, okay?
It's
None.
only men with tits.
Only men with tits. Only men with tits. There is no such thing. Where is these women with dicks? I mean, is she
Right.
hermaphrodite? We got hermaphrodites amongst us? I see some chicks with some long clicks, but I mean, that's a different conversation for a different day. Maybe we should save this for next year, but
all right, so let me get to the clip. Let me get to the clippity, the tickety tacky.
you got a girl. That's not a girl. That's not real. That's not real, brother. Run.
All right, let's check it out.
Yes, genital preferences are always transphobic. You're welcome. No, but seriously, deciding that you don't want to be intimate with someone because of the genitals they have is transphobic, particularly like if you think about in this case, this means that this person is not open to dating trans women, which invalidates their womanhood. Not only that,
Really?
depends about the way that trans people are going to want to use those genitals. The idea that trans people use the body parts that they have in the same way that cis people with those same body parts do is transphobic. Say it with me. Genital preferences are always transphobic.
Whoa, wait. First she said the key thing is that if you don't want to date them, that you're not validating their womanhood. So that has nothing to do with me. It's not my job to validate how you feel and who you think. It's no one's job to validate and make me feel like I feel good about myself and have self-confidence and pride. That's nobody else's job. That's my job. And if somebody don't like how I move, if I'm tenacious and you know walk around with my chest stuck up and all of that, and I'm proud, somebody might say, "Oh, Timotheus is arrogant. He an asshole." But guess what? I don't care what you think. This is me. Ain't that how the world supposed to work? But according to this person, I don't want to misgender them. According to this person, it's phobic because you are not validating their womanhood, because that person, though they may have a penis, is still a woman. So I'm gonna run it back so you can hear that, because these videos are real short. They're like 30 seconds.
Yes, genital preferences are always transphobic. You're welcome. No, but seriously, deciding that you don't want to be intimate with someone because of the genitals they have is transphobic, particularly like if you think about in this case, this means that this person is not open to dating trans women, which invalidates their womanhood. Not only that, it makes assumptions about the way that trans people are going to want to use those genitals. The idea that trans people use the body parts that they have in the same way that cis people with those same body parts do is transphobic. Say it with me. Genital preferences are always transphobic.
So is there a different way to use?
I was about to say that. Hold on, wait, pause the fuck up. Hold the fuck up. Hold. What the fuck?
So
What?
disclaimer. Wait. We gotta do the YouTube thing. This is not an attack on anyone in the LGBT community. This is a conversation of opinion, which we all have the right to have. This is not in any form, any type of phobias or isms or hate speech. This is not hate speech. All right, carry on.
I would like to challenge this whole statement. Okay, can you take it off the screen, please? Please.
I just want to know if there. I didn't know there was different ways you could use. Have you used yours differently?
I never. Listen, I never knew it was a different way to use it. And what I want to know is how you want us to validate your womanhood if you don't want to use it like a woman? I mean, how that work? How to work? You don't want to use said body parts as a cisgender that you're trying to portray yourself. You identify portraying. You identify with this, and you're telling me you don't want to use said body parts that make the identity of this who is meant to use, and we supposed to identify you as this. How that work?
People have the right to identify.
Do we not have do we cisgenders, whether it's a man or a guy?
I don't call me
Right
that. Please don't call me a cisgender.
I'm just being for clarity.
I gotta
For
turn my camera.
clarity.
I gotta turn my camera back on.
I'm just saying for clarity.
If certain individuals have the right to identify as however they want to identify, then those same people must respect. If you would like to be referred to as a certain pronoun or whatever, and whatever, you must respect that there are people like myself that do not identify as a cis male or cis man. I am just a man. No prefix. No prefix. I'm a man. I was born male. I am an adult male, which is a man. I'm just asking you for the same respect in return that you're asking of me. That's all.
I'm still stuck on the fact that you don't use your genitalia like a
I'm
woman
still,
use her
I,
genitalia, but you want to be you want us to respect your womanhood, and
I'm not, I'm not,
that's not knocking. Let me finish. That's not knocking the trans community. It's for clarity.
I'm not
Clarity.
making any
Like
type of accusation of how, because she wasn't clear. She just, uh, that individual, I'm sorry, I don't want to misgender. That individual stated that you can't assume on how it is they use their genitalia. And I was just, I wish I could speak to this
I
person.
can't assume you want
So
me
I
to
can,
validate
because
you as a woman.
I
That's the
want to,
assumption.
well, I just, yeah, that part is what I'm talking about. Yeah, I anyway, let's carry on. I'm gonna get hung up on this.
Like, what? It was
This
like, what?
this could get crazy, right? Because this is the newest one. This is the newest phobia gender ism thing.
Ain't no fucking such thing as gender phobia.
Well,
Ain't
read,
no
read,
fucking such thing as
read,
gender phobia.
read this comment while I'm finding the next one, if you would.
Let me read this. Let me read this. I gotta actually go on to the comment. I tried. I'm
Just on the
tired.
screen.
I know. I'm tired of this bullshit. Because it's being pushed on the masses. I don't care what the law passes. I was born a man. It's never going to be. I'm never going to be a woman. No matter how much lipstick you put on you. Well, I ain't gonna say that. No matter how much lipstick you put on a pig, it's still a pig. Okay, I get how you were saying. I thought you was calling them a pig, but yeah, yeah. I'm not going to say that.
And that
I'm not going
person's
to say
entitled
just
to their,
because
that
if
person's
you
entitled to
identify
their
as
opinion.
a woman, I'm going to call you a woman. But when you say some contradicting shit, I'm going to call you out on that too, because you're not above criticism. Just because you're fucking trans, you're trans. If
Now
I'm a woman and I get criticized, he's a man, he get criticized, you're trans. You're going to get criticized too. You want to be in it. You want to be in it. What the fuck? Come on in.
Now me, like I said, I do not have a problem with referring to a person however they want to be referred. If I can call a person that is named Christopher Wallace Biggie, then I can call a person that identifies one way as she. I can do that. That's not a problem. I can, a person that was born male that identifies as female, I can say, "Hello, Sarah. How are you, Miss Lady? How there she is over there." I can do that. If I can say Biggie Smalls, which is not his name, if I can say that, I can identify. If this person can identify as a fictional character, and I acknowledge that they are a fictional character, I see that as the same. Now, as far as me agreeing with what they believe, it's something different. You know what I mean?
I don't agree with what you believe. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. That ain't my life. You don't eat. You don't shit what I eat. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't gotta live your life. But I got some questions and I got some criticism. I mean, because that didn't make sense. Let's move on to the next slide, please. Because we don't want to get banned. Because I'm prone to saying some shit to get us banned.
So this lady is coming from another perspective. Hey, excuse me, audience. I have children that should be upstairs.
Got the boo-boos in the back playing. Let's go.
Has downstairs is not having a preference on what someone has downstairs is not and will never be transphobic. To tell someone they're against the community because they have a preference on what they're capable of finding sexually attractive is to discredit sexuality. We know that sexuality is more than just what you look at when you see a person. It's about what it makes you feel. You can't tell someone that they like Oreos just because you like Oreos. Are they tasty? And can you not fathom how someone else can't find them tasty? Sure, still not your right. To be transphobic is to have an aversion to someone because they are trans. Now, if you were to tell someone that they're not the gender they are because of what they have downstairs, that is transphobic. But you don't get to decide what people do and do not find attractive. My disclaimer is this. There are a lot of reasons to not date a trans person that is transphobic. There are a lot of reasons to not date a trans person that is not. The line needs to be drawn somewhere, but preference on what someone has downstairs is not it. Having a
We did say that a preference is something that you would be like, okay, I can have this, but I don't mind having that. And I will stand 10 toes down that maybe, gender preference is a little prejudice, I got prejudice and the
No,
genders
not
I
not
choose.
not no, not gender, genital.
Genital. I got a
Genital.
genital preference.
So what this woman just said in her video was something that I have a difference of opinion, because she says telling a person what they are based on what they have downstairs is transphobic. On the
She said
surface,
it is. I thought she said it wasn't.
no, she said it is. No, trying to tell someone that, say if who can
Okay,
I
I
use?
get what you're saying. Trying to tell somebody because
Telling
you're a
telling
man because
telling
you got man
TS
parts.
telling TS Madison you're a man because you got man parts. That's transphobic. But on the flip side, though, TS Madison, and I'm just a vague example, just somebody on the top of my head. This is not an accusation or anything like that. A person of that, a person of that, section of gender does not have the same way I don't have the right to tell them what they're not because of what they have downstairs, is the same way I have the right to say I don't want to have intercourse with you because you're not biologically what I want to have intercourse with. So they can, you can say what you are. I can agree that's what you are, but
Trey is not a gender preference. It is a genitalia preference.
Yeah. That's
Like,
the new.
and it's not even. And I don't even think it's that, because you have lesbians, you have gay guys. So I don't even think it's that. I think it's a born with. If you're not born with, it's oh my god.
Now what I'm saying
I
is,
don't even know how to fucking explain this shit. I don't.
That's what I'm saying. Let
It
me
don't,
get in here.
even make sense. That don't even make sense.
Let me paint it like this. There are some trans women that when you see them indistinguished, you would be like, oh my God, that is a beautiful woman right there. Oh my God, that's a beautiful woman. Say I date said person, this beautiful woman. We're going out on dates, but this. We're getting to know each other. And as time progresses, it gets to a point to where we're going to do some hanky-panky. Now, when it comes time to do hanky-panky and this person unrobes and they're swinging just like I'm swinging, it doesn't make me phobic to be like, hey, you didn't tell me about this. To me, that's more of a betrayal. It's like having an STI, and I'm not using that. I'm not comparing. I'm just using the concept. It's like a person that doesn't have an STI not telling you, and then you know what I mean. It's like this is something you should disclose if we're going to be intimate.
In these situations where they're saying it's a prejudice or it's not a preference, is when it is disclosed and it's for disclosure, and one says, you know what, I don't want to do this because I thought you were an actual real blah 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 blah, and they saying, well, you can't tell me that I'm not a real blah 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 because that's how I identify. And that's when it becomes, I think, a political situation, because it makes us have to identify them in a way we don't see them, just because that's how they see themselves, and You know.
All right, let's see. Let's move on now to the color shade thing, the colorism argument, the color preference, the shade preference. Light skinned women look better than dark skinned women. The Tommy isms. Inside joke for the back chat.
Beautiful. All shades, all hues.
Certain statements are colorist because you're assigning negative attributes to a person solely based off their skin color. You're only preferring light-skinned girls because you think they act a certain type of way. You don't prefer dark-skinned girls because you think they act a certain type of way. That's colorist. Like all Black people don't act the same, skin color has nothing to do with personality traits. Dark-skinned girls are this, dark-skinned girls are that. All negative attributes that aren't true. Not every dark-skinned girl acts the same type of way. So for you to have a preference on a skin color, that's you assuming that whole skin color acts a certain type of way, which is just not true.
How you feel about that?
Well, yeah. It's a slight prejudice to think that all one version of the same race act different. But we do act different. It just has nothing to do with complexion.
Right, because I know some, like, you know how they get, like I mentioned Kodak Black earlier, and Kodak Black said I like light skinned women because they not, dark skinned women is hard, they rough. I know some light skinned girls that got scars on their face from fighting, got teeth missing from fighting, will cuss them out real quick. Like, well, I don't know what they're talking about. And I know some chocolate women that are just some of the sweetest people to be around, just a joy.
I just want to point this out. In the rap industry, most of the females that are masculine are not darker of skin. I just want to put that out there.
All right.
I'm not, there's not no shots. I'm just saying. I don't even know how the fuck he's seen that in his everyday life where, we come in all hues, whether we're masculine or we're not. But if he wanted to go off of what society put the fuck out, bro, it wasn't a dark skin, masculine bitch. That's not what society put out for you to see. So we're gonna move on for that. But I don't like the fact that they try to put us against each other because that comes off Willie Lynchish. Like syndrome-ish. The dark against the light, the old against the young,
Right.
type. That's what it seems like. And it seems like that he got picked on himself for being a dark-skinned person. So he's projecting.
And I think that's a lot of because what I got from what the young lady said is just, I think that was her personal experience. She experienced that the guy that she liked and, put herself out there to say, hey, I like you. And he was like, I don't like dark-skinned girls. And you know what I mean? That's a cold feeling. I just know. But let's we got this video and one more, then we can open up the calls.
All righty.
How do you guys tell the difference between this is somebody's preference or this person is really a colorist?
Your track history. If you were a repeat offender, if you just down the line only date that type,
but how is that not their preference?
If I ask you why you date light skinned girls, right, and your immediate response is I date light skinned girls because they're every single trait you've named, they're the opposite of a dark skinned girl. I realize the next is not a preference; it's self hate at that point. It's some type of hate.
You don't have to even necessarily be the opposite of a dark skinned girl. It can be something that that's where they associate.
Yeah, you feel me?
Oh, they're not as loud.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Stupid ass shit.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like it's like a certain little like features where you're like, okay, usually that's associated with a dark skinned girl. So you're saying it's because she's not a dark skinned girl without saying she's a dark. That's what you're just dancing around it. But
I had that told to me. Like a guy like dating light skinned girls or what he called red bones, not light skin, but he called red bones because their hair grade was different than dark skinned girls. They had a better hair grade.
Oh,
that's a hair wet.
That's a new one. I forgot about that one.
Yeah,
that's called texturism.
Yeah. He was like, black girls don't like to get their hair wet. It's too much to maintain. It took her too long to get her hair done, or even when she was doing it herself, it took too many products. It cost too much. He just said he don't like nappy N-word hair.
And see, what stood out to me is on that last clip when he said, when you ask them why they don't like dark-skinned women, they'll name the traits that are the opposite of a dark. What's the opposite of a light-skinned?
What's
because you could be ghetto and ratchet as hell and be Cardi B. Like red bone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
you could be sweet, and you could be sweet and innocent and wholesome and loving, seemingly Coco Jones, chocolate girl.
Right.
You know, so I don't. That's why with the other brother said I agree, and like was mentioned on what the young lady said outside. It's the presumption of what they believe these individuals are.
Absolutely. Like, we're more masculine. We resemble more what men look like, more so than a light-skinned woman and things like that, or like a brighter skinned woman. But I never thought about it as colorism, as like within a race thing. I always thought that they fetishized those women to be more European than African descent. So it's definitely like a self-hate. It comes off super self-hate, like you just don't like to be black, like, and you don't really associate them as black, because in their mind, for them to be that fair skin, they had to be mixed. I had one guy in the KS group argue another lady down, talking about how she's a mixed race, and both of her parents was black, bro. That shit was crazy. And all because they wasn't dark skinned, so he didn't dub them to be black. So I was like, oh wow, I didn't know it was that deep. We got one more.
And I'm like, yeah, we got one more. But according to my DNA test, I'm 20% European, so I'm mixed race. I'm mixed. That's why my hair. That's why my hair look like this, and I got these yellow undertones. See how it just sounds.
I got these yellow undertones. It's not red.
In the summertime, I turn red. Yes.
Just why my nose a little pointy and it's not as wide like y'all's is.
All right. So this next clip I found is, a light-skinned girl's perspective, because I played two dark women and some men. So now here's I think her name is light skinned Keisha, but that don't make her light skinned. But
when you word it that way, I'm thinking that's someone's preference. Colorism is bigger than that. Like, it's discrimination on the highest extent. Like, I've heard females say, "Oh, that boy is so black, I can't deal with somebody that dark." I think when you say I want a tall, dark, and handsome person, that's your preference.
I'm pretty sure you heard women refer to light-skinned men as soft or feminine.
Of course.
Okay, so is that colorist?
It's a super double standard.
I can say it's a double standard, but I wouldn't say colorist.
Why not?
When a guy says, "Yo, I only really like light-skinned girls," dark-skinned girls feel some type of way. You don't
It's
even know
colorist,
if
yeah.
you like this dark-skinned
Right.
girl. Definitely think it's super double standard when it comes to that.
Well, they're both considered as feminine and soft and more
right, it's an insult. It's a double standard.
The less the adjective, the less threatening kind of people, whether it's a man or it's a woman, whether it's a light-skinned man or whether it's a light-skinned woman, they are not the threats. We don't feel threatened by them.
No, the double standard that they're saying though is that why this was the chocolate sisters, but pointed out it's a double standard, because it's like, why for light-skinned women they have to be soft, kind, and pretty, but the double standard for men though is like, he just got to be a whole bitch ass N-word.
Right.
He's
Like
he just ain't, he ain't even the me. He just he get on the dance floor.
I just said the same thing.
Splits and
What's up, Jess? But it's the same thing. I just said the same thing. We consider, not we, but they considered the light-skinned person, whether it was a guy or a woman, to be the weaker species. They both did. But it's just one, the double standard is one is looked good at from a female and it's not looked good at from a male. But they both seen both of them as the weaker species and a softer species.
Right.
So
Right. So I believe that was the last video. We can
open up
it
the
up.
lines now.
We can open it up. So I'm gonna I'm gonna put it over here in my I'll put it on my page, you drop it on your page.
All right.
Make sure you pin it. So you can pin it. I don't know if anybody's on Facebook. Like if you look in the comments on YouTube right now, I'm gonna pin it to the top on the Average Black Man Show. She's pinning it to the top on Moure Contentious. And let me see if there's anybody on Facebook. On Facebook, I'm gonna
drop it in the back.
Yeah. You dropping it in the back chat? Yeah, I just seen that one pop in there right there. Boom. Boom. Okay, bang. All righty, so everybody that's watching right now, if you want to come up onto the show, the links are out there now. Just follow the instructions and come on up, and we'd love to hear your opinion on what you think is preference, really prejudice in disguise.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see.
Just come on up, see what y'all think about certain prejudice, and is it prejudice or is it a preference, and is it okay to have that preference even if it is a prejudice? Like we could talk about that too.
Right. That's like saying, like, for example, say if someone was to ask me, what type of women are you attracted to? I would say, oh, this particular type of woman with curly hair. So you wouldn't date a woman that got nappy hair and all that? No, I didn't say that. I just would prefer that,
Right.
Versus or the type of person that would say, oh, I don't date, a black man that say, oh, I don't date black girls. Well, why you don't date black girls? Because black girls got problem A, B, problem C. But that's a prejudice. That's a self-hatred at that.
Right. And
all right. We see you. We just now opening up the lines for anyone to come in. The topic we're talking about is preference really just prejudice in disguise? And all the different. We're talking about how there's so many new phobias and isms that have been created now because of how politicized identity has become. You know what I mean? And social media is just so crazy. Hang on a second.
He gotta regulate them babies. Gonna come right back to you guys and finish explaining his premise. But anyway, we still open up the lines for you guys. Come join us. We put it in the YouTube, his YouTube. We put it on Facebook. We only stream it from 3 platforms right now. Come up and join up and tell us what you think about preference versus a prejudice. Do you guys have prejudice that it's okay to have, and why you think it's okay to have? We ain't gonna argue with you. This is your opinion. Might be challenged though, but it's not going to get debated. You have a right to say how you feel, and you have a right to your opinion because of freedom of speech and all that good shit. So come on, tell us, what is your opinion? And don't wait till we like about to get off to want to show us. To show up. Y'all do that every time. 2 hours in, and now y'all want to come up, and I want to get off. So come
it
on
happens
up.
every time. They wait until 5 seconds left in the show, then
I'm like, yo, what the fudge? Or I gotta go in 99 groups and find everybody because they're. Hold on, wait. I'm about to say they in a group call now.
I was that sounds about right. That's how they move.
I'm like, they in a group call now. I was about to hop right on it. Hey, bring y'all asses. What is y'all doing?
Right. So yeah, anybody want to come up? You're more than welcome to come on in. Give your opinion, even if you have a personal experience that you want to speak on. Maybe some type of ism has happened to you. You've been accused of being some type of ism, because like I was saying before, I had to take care of something that the society right now is just so political in all of our behaviors that everything we do is geared to, making you a bad guy, getting you canceled, and putting an ism on you. Hey, Tay lit, triple
Tay
X.
lit.
Yeah, leave your camera off with the triple X. I don't want to see none of that. Yes, you're a woman. You're a woman. You good? No, just
These assholes.
don't hear you.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody. I'm happy that everybody is joining. Some of your preferences and prejudice. This is the conversation we're going to talk about today.
Yeah,
we talk about prejudice and preferences all the time. Like, some guys' preferences is like, I don't want no woman with kids. I don't want no woman with a high body count and things of that. Like, that's their preference. Now, I just think that your preference is things that you like, things that you may want. Doesn't mean your ass is gonna get it. It's just what you like and what you want. And
but see, the two examples you just gave, though, those are, in my opinion, legitimate preferences. But the people that are trying to paint them as a prejudice are the women that fall into that category.
Exactly.
A woman that has a bunch of kids will hear a guy that she thinks is attractive and would like to date, tell her, oh, I don't, hypothetically, let's just say he has one kid. I only got one kid. You got three. I don't think it's going to work. You ain't no real man. They try to make it, they try to shame him into being attracted to something or wanting to deal with something that he doesn't want. Same with the thing about weight is the one I really don't understand, because attraction, for the most part, is physical. When you first see a person, no one says, "Oh my God, that person is so bomb. I really want to get to know them." You see them and say, okay, I see what's cracking. That's the first attraction. So if a person sees a person that's, a little on the plus side and they don't have that reaction, they aren't fat phobic. They just are not attracted to your aesthetic. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Okay, all right. Can I
ahead.
add something? All right, what's going on, everybody? This is Taylor Triple X. Honestly, let me go through my preferences. Me personally, like I like women that's like slim, thick. I mean, petite is cool, but I like her if she could be like like plush. Like when a girl's like fat, but it's like she's fat in the right places, so it's not like sloppy. That's acceptable, but anything past that is kind of a dub with me. I used to be tripping on kids, but honestly, now that I think about it, as long as I don't got to take care of them, I'm not really tripping on the kids. If I got to take care of them, then that's a whole different situation. Um, what else? Even with the body count situation, I don't even tripping on that either because it don't matter about what she did before you. It's more about what she do when she with you. You know what I'm saying? What else? I don't know. That's basically my preferences. So I don't know like how that to really like to go and decipher anybody else's shit because it's like you're gonna have your own thing in your own situation.
Well, yeah. I think a lot of people in these corners, I think it's like projections you hurt me past, like relationships past. That's what I call them. And I think that plays a big part. Is he on here?
Yeah, can you hear
Is
me?
you on here, Teddy? No, I wasn't talking about. I was adding people on.
Yes, I am. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Teddy. Good evening, Untypical
evening.
Reaction. Good evening, Jesse. I think with a lot of these different nuances, it's very new to hear a guy to say, you know, I built myself up to a certain statue and I achieve XYZ. So with these achievements, I don't necessarily want to raise someone else's children. And I want someone that doesn't have any children as well. You know, and I don't find anything wrong with that per se. I don't find anything wrong with that per se. Um, I just think that if you think that well, a woman with children is going to give me more of her time. She's going to give me more of this. She's going to be more on trying to cater to my needs and things of that nature. And I'm like, you don't know that. That doesn't guarantee you that. Is what you would like for it to happen is in your mind because there's nothing else around her to take it off of you. But a woman doesn't need kids to focus on other things but you. I lay my plane there. Do anybody else have, you know, some prejudices or preferences?
Like, all right, let me ask you what you mean. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say my preference with my now husband of 14 years. My preference was that he had no children. When I met him and he said that he did not have any children, I damn near tattooed his phone number on my arm because it had been a while since I met a man that did not have at least one child. So that was a preference for me. Obviously, that's not a prejudice; it's just a preference.
Right.
Now, I'll admit, I'm gonna admit to something. I've always had a prejudice on dating light-skinned men. I always wanted my how can I put it? I'm trying to make this sound right, so give me a minute to get my words. Because
Yeah.
I'm as light skinned as I am, I never wanted my children to be as light as I am. Therefore, a light skinned man, like somebody, let's say Drake would have been, he could have been the nicest guy in the world. And I would have passed him over for a darker skinned man because I always wanted my children to come out a darker complexion than myself. Therefore, I would call that a preference, but at the same time, I can admit that it's borderline prejudice as well. Not that I don't like light skinned men. Like,
No. Well, I understand what you're saying. It's a preference, but it's borderline prejudice because you had a reason behind why you wouldn't date that person. It wasn't necessarily something that what's the word I'm looking for? A predetermined notion on how you believe light skinned men were. It was because and this is just a shot in the dark, because I had mentioned to you in another instance about those documentaries called Dark Girl and Light Girl. And a lot of the decisions a lot of women make based on how they have their children is based on their own personal experiences. So if you experience something that you believe was traumatic or something like that, no parent is going to want their children to have to go through something traumatic that they went through. So you being of mixed race, I'm just hypothetically, there's the possibility that maybe one side of your family was less accepting than the other side of the family, and you don't want your kids to grow up with none of that. And not even just the family, just in public, you're not black enough for the blacks, you're not white enough for the whites, and all of that can be traumatic, and you didn't want to put your children through that. And I get it. But at the same time, there are chocolate women that have the exact opposite. They want to have mixed race babies, or babies with light skinned individuals to have lighter children because they don't want their children to experience what they did growing up, being called burnt biscuit, African booty scratcher, and so on and so forth. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, 1,000% on point. And in both
Jigaboo.
ways.
I just learned what that was not too long ago. Like, what the hell is a jigaboo? Oh shit. Go ahead, Jess.
No, I was just saying that he's 100% on point, and I've heard it from my darker skinned sisters too, where they were teased growing up because they were too dark. I was teased for being too light. So a lot of times as women, we just tend to make some of those decisions based on the things that we experienced growing up as well, and we don't want our children to go through that. And guess what? I got my wish. All my children are darker than me. Sometimes I feel like I need to carry their birth certificate because they be like, "That's your child," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's you." Oh, you the babysitter? No, that's my child. Damn it, the hell, But the one thing that I can say is that, unlike myself, they don't have to explain themselves, and I had to explain myself all the time. If that makes sense.
I always wondered how guys that have a preference for a different race explain to the school when they picking up their child. I know they get carded. Like, there's no way, because it's not like their child from off the back look like them. So I always wonder that as well.
Yeah, I remember I was at the playground with Monica one day, and this lady legit asked me. She was like, "Oh, you must be the babysitter," and I'm like, "No, I'm her mother." And she kind of did look at me for a minute. I'm like, "Lord, I hope she don't call the cops thinking I done stole this baby." So I'm sure it happens more often than we probably hear about.
Right. Fellas. I'm gonna go to Teddy. Teddy, do you have any preferences versus prejudice moments that you could speak on?
I think both are mutually exclusive. If you ask me, I think everybody has their right to have their prejudice. It's just part of their preference, and it just makes them who they are. I mean, I think experiences and also just the way we're biologically wired. Sometimes, if you're taller, you want someone who's going to be taller. If you thick bone it, or maybe you're athletically inclined, you want to get somebody athletically inclined. Everybody has their preference, and you have the right to discriminate. I say it all the time at work. I discriminate very fairly and all around the board. I think it's okay. I think sometimes when we push our prejudice on other people because they don't conform to our vision, that's when I don't like that. I think that's really what's the word, abusive, if not to say like, hey, I like pizza, so you have to eat pizza in my house. Excuse you? Okay, yeah, I don't have to eat pizza, I can eat something else. That kind of mindset. So no, when it comes to relationship preference, and I think preference and prejudices are the same. One just does more hurt than the other.
Okay, well that kind of goes with what he said is I agree with, but there's a group of people that do exactly that in the reverse. Where they're at, the example he gave is when people push their preference / prejudice on you, but then there's a group of individuals that will force you to to believe what they believe. You know what I mean? Like that. I don't know how long you've been watching the show, but earlier in the show we covered the isms and phobics that come along with these ideals of being prejudiced versus preference. Is preference really just prejudice in disguise? And one of the more recently coined terms is called genital preference, and the phobia attached to that is called transphobia, because the example I gave is what I've heard. Because me, as a man that would prefer to have intercourse with a person who has an opening shape similar to this, is transphobic because and I quote, this is me quoting them, women have penises too. So now since I don't valid, since I'm not validating this person's identity, now I become the villain. I become the anti. I become the antagonist. I become the prejudiced person. I become the phobic. I become the villain because I have a difference of opinion, or I just have my own personal preference. That's what it's about, right? It's about preference. I prefer to be with a woman, and
So
I have to use their terminology for them to understand a cisgender woman. I hate that term, but just for the sake of argument right now.
So I think you're right. It is this. So words, we get caught up in words and semantics, and I think that's too much. But I get the example. Um, the difference to me. So let's say the difference between prejudice and preference. Preference is more that it has some of a softer. It's not as heavy foot as what you call it. Preference. What's the other word? I'm drawing a blank. I'm doing something.
Prejudice.
Prejudice. Yeah, prejudice, right? Prejudice is more heavy foot. You're forcing somebody, or you're making someone unfair your will. And when you have a preference, it's more light footed. It's pretty much your approach. A lot of times, just because we're the majority, the minority feel like we're being discriminatory because we're being discriminatory. And just because we're the minority, we feel on the flip side. It's really on the person to be able to be emotionally. Your background, is it me? Okay. It's really for the person to be emotionally mature enough to understand, and also on the flip side, the person's articulating to have the the vocabulary to articulate that. A lot of people think that when you're saying, "Hey, this is not what I want, this is not what I like," you think you're trying to directly offend them, and it's not.
Right. And that's what I had said kind of like right when everybody started joining the call. I was saying that it seems to be that the people whom fall into the category that goes against said individual's preference is then called the ism or the phobic. You know, like there was a video we played earlier where it was saying that, you know, a person's preference can be racist because if a person that says I uh I kind of lost it, but what I'm saying is that certain characteristics can be found in everyone. Personality, you know, similar things you have in common. You can find that across the board in everyone. A tall person, short person, a heavy set person, a black person, an Asian person. Just what you know. At the end of the day, we're all human beings, and we all have a human experience. Now, from a biological standpoint, though, you cannot control what you think is beautiful. The things you see through your eyes that you think is beautiful is generated from your brain, and that's
No,
where that.
I'm a bit different. You actually can't control that. There's neural pathways and this and that goes into your brain and conditioning where you think this is the norm and this is what you're accustomed to. That's what forms us what we are.
Right. You can, the key word you said is you can train yourself. So that means you have to teach yourself to go against what you're naturally already doing. So like I grew up in the 90s, and in the 90s it was super colorism thing going on. So it was like, the lights, like it was the era of the girl groups and the guy groups. So every single girl group, the light skinned one was automatically the fine one. Even if she wasn't, like Total, for example, like the little skinny girl, people was like, oh, the little skinny one. It's like, no, bro, she's trash. But it's like, but that's just what it was. So it was social pressure and peer pressure. But at the people were afraid to say, no, I like the dark one. She fine. That chemo, oh, that's the one. Same with what's the other group? Brownstone,
Yeah.
Max. It's the same thing. People were like, oh no, the lead singer, Nippy, the light skinned one. No, Max was the prettier one. But we were just, like I said, in that culture that we grew up in, it was, oh no, the light skinned one got to be better. And we were conditioned to that, even though in private it's like, oh, I like that dark one. And because that's where that was the neural synapses. This is what they were attracted to. But out loud, they would put on a front and say, and be conditioned to want to fit in and be socially accepted. So at the end of the day, they could lie about what they were having, their biological reaction. They could lie about it, but they were only lying to themselves. because you're attracted to what you're attracted to. You find beautiful what you think is beautiful. Hey, brother Trey. Welcome.
I agree.
Well, I was just gonna say, on behalf of probably 50% of the light skinned women, we didn't like none of that bullshit. I'm just saying, we didn't like that. We didn't like the whole pedestal. We didn't like, the European standards and us being put in the spotlight like we're better than our sisters, because a lot of us, well, personally speaking, I didn't feel that way. I felt my sisters were beautiful, whether they was as black as the socks I got on right now, whether they were light skinned, brown skinned. I didn't care about none of that. But a lot of times, you're right. A lot of I can't express to you how many times I'm gonna use my Oprah voice. I had to fight, okay, and I never had to fight because I just was not likable. I had to fight because I was light skinned. And oh, you think you're better than me? You said good morning to my boyfriend? Oh, well, why you say good morning to my boy? Because I'm being polite, wench. Like, I'm just saying good morning. But
Now she light
their
skinned.
automatic
She thinks she all of
assumption,
that. She thinks she all of that because she light skinned.
and she got the pretty hair, she got the good hair. So I was automatically assumed to think that they thought I was better than them. And I never thought that. So a lot of us light skinned folks don't count us into that shit.
And I appreciate that you said 50% because the other 50% are them actually butt ugly light skinned girls that got attention that they would have never gotten before if not for that standard of automatic dope because you light skinned. So there absolutely were those light skinned girls that benefited from that being pedestalized only because they were light skinned. All right, you want to say something, brother Trey?
Yeah, this is a great conversation because it goes back to when I was younger. I grew up in a house with a mother, cocoa brown, had sisters, medium brown. My first girlfriend was lighter than me. I wasn't ready for it at the time, but I realized the colorism from about 8th grade on, and it stemmed so much in our community. Being teased as a young man about my light skin. I love myself more than anything. So I embraced being light skinned from an early age. But in me, I always grew up that for a brother to it's like if you look at a woman, a sister, and you dismiss a woman because of her complexion, then to me, it just goes to show me how much you don't like yourself. You dishing the very woman that looks like you. But when it comes down to it, and I see to look back on my history, the brown skinned girls, they were a little tougher, to get through that little layer. They had a little mystique about them, and they would stand up, and they wasn't just going for the "oh, you look good," because a lot of these sisters, like the lady just said, the sisters would tell them, "You ain't that cute because you light skin or dark skin, or you blackity this and blackity that." But as a man, you should never discount a sister because of her complexion, because now you're eliminating your pool altogether. I want the whole pool. We all got if you got the big nose and the big lips like Sister Morphine, I want that. But the caveat for me was the natural hair. Are you going to be natural? So when you come out the shower, you shine like new money. That was my thing. It wasn't so much the complexion. Even growing up being teased, I loved being light skinned. But I was a man. I was a pit bull too. And, but as far as today, to be thinking like, oh, I don't want a certain complexion, you're a fool because you cutting your options down. And the light skinned girls, they own the videos because they the one that, if you look at all of them's reputation, find one of them that got a good reputation besides Beyonce. But even that, she's lightly light and she can sing. But a regular sister, look at the reputations, the ones that they put out there. All of them are fools. They'll do whatever to get in that spotlight. So I think it's just hideous for us to look at each other with big nose and big lips.
I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like it. I don't like that we got to do that, or to to say what one Taylor, you got 2 pages in here. One of them have to go. Which one are we going to remove? I'm going to remove the one that you're not in right now.
Yeah, I think you're having technical difficulties. I think that's why.
He keep popping in and out. Okay.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
All right, cool.
I don't like the power struggle that they pit between us two, chocolate women and light-skinned women, because like me and a light-skinned woman came out the same mother. You know what I mean? We could have came out the same ball sack. So
yeah, me and my wife are, my wife is, for the sake of the colorism thing, she's a little lighter than I am. But we got a daughter that's high.
I could have had an identical twin that one was yellow and one was this complexion, but we would have been twins,
Right. But not even just that, like what Jess was saying, like even when people attempt to, purposely mix for a particular reason, like how Jess was saying, she didn't want her kids she wanted to have chocolate kids because for whatever reasons. And I gave the example of how some dark women want to have lighter children because they don't want their children to go through what they went through. You're still crossing your fingers and hope, because like I said, my wife and I are brown people, and our daughter is a high yellow girl.
So I think
I feel attacked every time Trey does this with his background. Like, why?
Me?
Okay. I mean, it's definitely always.
She feel attacked, Trey. She feel attacked.
I feel attacked. Why are you doing this to me, Trey? Like, what did I do? I feel like we, in a matter of 14 shows, Trey, it's my first time wearing weave, okay?
It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you at all. But it does play into this whole conversation. So that's why I put it up. This is
those are just designer mops he got hanging behind his back.
Yeah. Okay, so let's use them as a metaphor. Let's just say these are sisters. These are my sisters. They're all in beautiful different sizes and colors and things like that. If you a man and you eliminate one row and say, I'm only going to deal with the bottom row, you've essentially eliminated half your dating pool and marriage options. That is a fool's move. That is losing money all the day. I want all the options. So when I go to make my decision, I can pick and choose which one I want. People have their preference. If she's light skinned and she treats me well, great. I used to call them burnt black blue, my favorite kind of sister. They just didn't like me. And that was cool because I was that dude that could do whatever. I was that dude. I could, even today, my wife is Cocoa Puff. And she know she got a winner. She knows she got a winner. Because I'm that dude, I'm going to fix it, tear it down, put it together, hang up your little wig right. And then we going to have some fun on your wigs later. I'm that dude. So I'm just saying, brothers, don't eliminate your options. Y'all having problems with the little groups of women y'all been trying to date for years. You better go find you some more beautiful ones out there. And it has nothing to do with you, Morphe. It's just,
I know, I just fucking with you. I was like, I feel attacked. You see, just keep doing this. Every time I have a nice little hairpiece in, and I'm like, wow.
May I come in? So have anybody seen the Thurgood Marshall social experiment?
I have not.
I have not. Can you explain that? And not over, explain it, but
yeah, no problem. And throw a rock at me if I do. So in 1968, for us to remember board versus education, for us to not separate but equal, there was an experiment where they put a bunch of black kids in the room and they told them pick a baby. The black kids picked the white baby and said it was good. Okay. Sometimes we don't know that our environmental. Did you hear me? I hear some background. If it's me, is it me?
No, that's Miss Fields. I'm gonna have to mute. Well, she muted herself. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. So
sometimes we're in the environmental factors that play a factor when we're little kids. We don't know, and it subliminally condition us to like what we like and have a preference. Is it right? No. Is that's the way it's supposed to be? I don't know, but it's just the way that the environmental factors happen for evolution. And I think that's a great example to look at, that sometimes we don't know that we're wired this way by either environmental factors or our brains, like where you could touch our brains. Like our brains are like, hey, you know what? Part of my survival, I want a dark complected person. Part of my survival, I want a light complected person. It is what it is. I just food for thought.
I now that you mention it, I do remember seeing that special where they picked the baby, because it went even further, where it said pretty much like the white baby was more viewed as more pure, well behaved.
Correct.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, or nice. And then it was like a white lady versus a black lady, and who was mean. And these kids didn't know nothing for nothing. I mean, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, and they actually went to the Supreme Court. And they realized that sometimes environmental factors, conditions put in these positions. What's that? I'm sorry, I thought I heard something. Put us in these conditions where we have a preference, and then the preference become what? Prejudice.
Absolutely. I totally agree. You know.
Well, but that's like one time, I don't know if I mentioned it on this show before, but being originally born in Mannheim, Germany, when I was in Germany, nobody really ever questioned my race. They just said, "Oh, you're an American," right? And it wasn't until that I moved to Buffalo, New York, into our community, to when I start getting the questions, well, what are you? What are you? And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I'm not even equipped to answer this right now. And then I can only think of mixed or biracial. But then because I was so light-skinned, even the fact that my 6'4" father, who was black, could come to the school and they could look him dead in the face, but I still was never black enough for them because I was so light.
Preach. I'm sorry. Yeah, you get home with that with me. God, preach.
But this is
But no,
not a
that
new
was
phenomenon.
really it. I really just think that being able to have a comparison from overseas and then coming to the United States, to this Western world, where it was a huge culture shock for me. Because again, in Germany, they were cool. They like I said, they didn't ask me if I was black, because I speak fluent German. So but I guess by my accent, they could tell that I was in fact American. And again, they never really asked me my race. And it wasn't until I moved to the United States where I was put in question on what am I, not even who. It's like, well, what are you?
They knew you were black based off your father. They see you with that big man you just seen. They're like, oh yeah, especially school. But this goes back, man, to slavery days. You can see it on. This goes back to the slavery days, how they separated us from our own, based off skin complexion. Lighter skin, it's a whole different. Lighter skin, we're in the house, closer to the house, and the master. Darker skin, we're out in the field. That's because that melanated skin is more durable in the sun. It's more durable. Me, I would have been over like the master, blistered up if I got too much. So they've experimented with that already. We just victims of the situation. Then you read the Willie Lynch letter, it's going to show how you separate based on male, female, complexion, a lot of that. Then the other modern day test just goes to continue it. Even in media today, they promote it today to our own self. They promote this type of lifestyle to ourselves. You can see commercials, light skin with the good bouncy hair, with the white guy getting the life insurance. Me and you, we doing some chicken fingers. We doing bad health foods. We doing
I want a black dark complected girl with her natural hair and some cornrows. I want to see a dark complected sister with some cornrows on the show one time.
But they out there, they just ain't seen like the little light skinned flower. They in the back. You gotta be willing to get your hands dirty. The cornrow girl, she's over working on her cornrows. She ain't trying to be seen like the old dandelion. You know, it's a difference.
That's what I was about. You took the words right out my mouth. First of all, I would say this: that don't look good on all women. Sometimes they make her look like a whole fucking bulldagger. So that's that. And another thing is, women with simple hairstyles get overlooked than a woman that is peacocking herself.
Okay.
They get overlooked. I could go
Yeah,
outside
the thing
with my
about it
two.
is
I
that
could
at
go
Peacock,
outside
you
with my
know,
two puffballs, and nobody will look at me. Nobody, unless my ass is out. Nobody will look at me twice. But let me go outside, and I could be fully covered with the makeup I got on now and the hair that I got on now. I would get all types of stares. I've done it. I've seen it.
it just depends on, because me personally, a lot of those dudes that talk about this anti-weave and all them dudes be capping because
Yes. They don't know
and
the
the reason
difference.
why, and right, a lot of them don't even like. For example, there's a lot of men that don't know there's this thing called a natural weave, and it's a whole afro curly puff hair that look like regular black girl hair, and it be curly, or some of it look like the mixed girl hair to where it don't look like it's white woman hair, but you know what I mean, like that in between mixed girl hair. And they got dudes that think that's those people real hair. Like, see, that's what I'm talking about, the whole natural girl. And I'm like, dude, that's a whole weave right there. Like,
Right.
and then I have
You know
I have
what
to
the
show.
Like Jill
you know
Scott.
what my advantage was?
Yeah,
I don't
like
know
Jill
about
Scott.
guys to
Everybody thought. Remember, I'm sorry,
yeah.
Trey. Remember
No,
when we
no, go
was
ahead.
on
I'm
a
sorry.
post? Remember when me and you was on a post, Ted, and you was they was talking about Jill Scott, and I posted 5 pictures of Jill
I never
Scott with a
heard it.
whole weave in her head. He was like,
Still
"Don't
look
be
good.
talking about my wife like that."
She still look good to me.
So
I don't
we
know.
like black women that wear hair that look like they natural hair. Go ahead, Trey.
Yes.
No, that's me. And brother Timothy is unique because growing up in the house with sisters, you know, there was always baby dolls and all that growing with the little. I remember they had the little mannequin. I was one of those boy guys, but I was always getting into. I used to comb the hair, and so when I started dating, I knew exactly what the hair texture was. I could call it out in any capacity. That's a weave. That's natural. Because what I learned about sisters and natural hair compared to weave, and this has nothing to do with you. When they wear the weave, they pretty much wear it to cover all this in the front and their ears. But when they wear their natural hair, they sort of pull it back in the capacity. Off their ears, you can see their ears. It's a different style that they wear it, and they wear it. They want to look like the Beckys in those positions. I'm just saying, and that's why I think a sister would be more dynamic, more appealing if they would just be natural. Put some extra virgin olive oil with some lavender in your hair, let it grow. Because if you look at these young boys out here, 18, 19, 20 years old, these dudes got hair so thick, and the sisters got the same grade. It's just they strip it out too early. Let it grow like, if you just let it grow like let you do your son's hair. Your hair will be down to your back and it'll be stronger. It'll be cheap on your wallet. You might be able to save about $5,000 a year. So think about it.
It's just not
Okay,
always sexually
so
attractive
so
to
this
everyone.
this
Y'all gotta
this
get
this
to
woman I
the
have on the screen right now is what I use as an example all the time. This is an actress named Tiana Paris, and I show brothers these in these Kevin Samuels groups, and they be like, "Oh, see, that's what I'm talking about. Beautiful. She got her natural hair and everything." And I'm like, "No, that is a weave. That ain't no weave. You can see that." So I'm like, "That is a weave, my brother." And then like, so that's what I be saying. Like, a lot of them don't even know what they be even talking about. Like this weave right here, I can support this weave because this weave to me is still an expression and celebration of self. That's just my opinion.
And I was about to say, I don't like weave. Now, having said that, I like it when it looks natural, when it looks like it belongs to you. When I say I don't like weave, I'm talking about like sexy red, or like the one girl that had a dragon behind her in the mall with her baby. It was so damn long, and then it's purple and green and yellow, and and it doesn't look natural. Now, if you want to put weave in your hair to, no different than makeup, to enhance a style that you want, because honestly, if I probably could do it to enhance my hairstyle, I might do it, but my hair doesn't support weave. It doesn't at all. But I think it just gets ridiculous when it's just like you just don't even, you can tell that it's not yours. Like that lady that you just showed, that was a beautiful hairstyle. And yes, I would have actually thought that that was her natural hair, honestly. But I can see that, you proven that it's not, it's a weave, but it still looks like a natural look. You know what I mean? Just like Morphine. Morphine looks beautiful.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Even though Timothy thought my bang was a weave and it's my real hair.
Timothy don't know nothing.
I'm hearing
She
it.
combed that part down. Lord have mercy.
I be knowing, like my wife does hair. I be knowing. I just the bang I missed on the bang, but I was right about the rest of it. Hit this.
See, and kind of like Trey said, but you know what? I will pay attention to that, Trey. I never thought about that. Where you said women that wear like the wigs or the weaves generally will have them down on their face and then over their ears. Yeah. My hair is always in a ponytail. Always
my hair goes in a ponytail all the time. I don't want none of that nappiness on my ears. I feel like something's crawling on me.
I'm just saying, I never thought of it that way. I never thought of it that way.
I think sometimes the hair is part of females' identity, even guys too. When we go bald or whatever the case may be. So I think it goes hand in hand. I think, and not to go off the topic between prejudice and preference, it just goes hand in hand to say that we have our preference and our prejudice, but it's also based on just our experience and just what we're trying to attract.
So are you saying men are more attracted to the weave? Brothers? You think brothers are more attracted to the weave?
They are attracted to a certain hair texture, and they don't understand that this the texture that they prefer, not the natural. The same dudes that say that, oh, I love a natural girl and all of that. You show them a picture of Florida Evans back when she was young, and they that's nappy hair. Yeah, but that's natural. That's like natural. So which
it's natural.
I don't know.
I do think that guys be attracted to a certain hair texture as well.
I have to show this picture. I have to show this picture because I have to, I don't want to demonize sisters for doing this as if other people don't do it. It is not a black woman thing. It is not a black woman thing. I just had to throw that out there that, this is the whole argument that I see a lot of people brothers make. Oh, they don't do it. This is why they better and this. No, everybody does it.
Men do it too. Men do it too. Men use prosthetic for their hair when they get roguing for men. I'm not the president. I'm not just a client. I'm the president.
I'm the president, right? That's the oldest one. I'm not just right.
I was thinking about getting Billy some, but he just shaved.
That's homegrown, natural gray right there. No.
Yeah. Y'all see this gray? That's what you want. You want this. You want this right here. You want this gray. Hey, brother, you want the gray. Now what the trick bag is the style you're going to wear when you get over it. You're going to keep wearing the Santa Claus beard or you're going to have to shape it up a little bit. That's the only trick bag. Now, for me, again, this is just my preference. I've never considered dating a sister with blonde hair, but I think I'll be digging too deep in my mind because to me it just goes to show the identity complex of sisters when they go through that. Because why would you want to look like the very person that will always oppress the sister? Why you want to look like her? I don't care about the white hair and weave.
I just want as a color wearer. I always went on the other spectrum of color, not the natural hair tones like the reds, the oranges, the blondes. I just went to the total fucking retro. I'm gonna be a Barbie girl. I'm wearing green, blue. You can't say I'm being like anybody else, because ain't no other race got green or blue hair.
You just being ratchet. That's all.
Yeah, that's it. Yes, it. A sister go hold on to the hood till she die. I don't care where she lived at. She can move to California, go to Hollywood. In her house, she gonna have a whole hood collection. It's gonna be a whole section for
right?
just
I'm
her
gonna be
hood.
in a whole boardroom doing the whole code switch, but as soon as I get in my shed, I'm pulling out Rebecca with the green hair. We going at it. Like me, I gotta have me. I bet y'all. I mean, y'all been love them wigs. Y'all better get into the wigs. Shit, just not at going outside all the time. I wouldn't wear a green wig to my kid's school. It's a place and time for everything, and I think the bedroom and that Rebecca green wig goes together. I don't care what you say. That just go together. That blonde wig that you don't like, I call it the oh my god, it's like an old 80s fucking looking crazy ass shortcut wig. Bitch be looking bad with them kitten heels.
Nah,
Tell her to put that on.
now what you're talking about as far as role playing and stuff like that. That's not the same as
I'm just
being
saying
a
it's a
representation of
place
self.
in the time
Because
for everything. That's all I would say.
it's true that men do have hair pieces. I've seen the pictures, I've seen the videos, but when men get hair pieces, they tend to just get hair that look like their hair. They get waves where hair pieces look like waves, little locks and stuff.
Do you count the spray?
No.
You count the spray too?
Imagine
Y'all
if-
texturize your hair and y'all
well,
act like y'all
yes,
don't.
yes, we do.
Now,
Texture.
I will have to agree with
Yes, y'all
Timotheus
do.
on that one because I remember when Billy, he has alopecia, and he did everything in his power. He got the shots in his head, he got the cream, and he did all that. And one day he went to the barber shop, and I guess the barber just looked at him like, "Yo, son, I can't make this work no more. Just let it go." And so Billy texted me and he said, "Well, baby, how you think I look with a bald head?" And I said, "Baby, you're gonna be just as gorgeous as you were with full hair,
Yes,
okay?
sir.
So just do what you gotta do, you know." But I know he misses his hair. And so I only give that example where you were saying 9 times out of 10, if a man is doing it, it's probably because there's an underlying condition that made him have hair loss. Women just do it because they want to change their look every other week.
I do it because it's some naps under there, and I don't got time.
You different.
We want the
You
naps.
special.
Now, hold up. We want the naps. We want the naps. We want the naps. We want the naps. The naps is what keeps everything fresh from head down. Now, see, those are guys with a dark-skinned guy with an inferior complex. To me, why you don't need that? He got a round head. He can play that.
I wouldn't say it's an inferiority. Now, if he had stringy blonde hair and had a Ted Koppel hairpiece, I would say he has an inferiority.
I think that's more. I think that's more of he just misses his hair.
It's either that, but I would just more say it's an esteem thing. It's just
Okay, so
So
let me add this. So with the alopecia, and I know he don't mind me saying this, so it's not that I'm throwing my husband's business out there. With the alopecia, he also lost his eyebrows, right? So I remember, because my sister-in-law is just a plumb fool, my sister-in-law ordered these tattoo eyebrows. So we looked at them, and I was like, well, let's try them on and see what they look like. So we put them on him, right? And we didn't say nothing to nobody. We wanted to see if anybody noticed that he had these tattoo eyebrows on. So as soon as he walked out, my sons looked at him and said, "Oh no, Dad, wipe that off. You look stupid. You look stupid. Wipe that off. You just find the way you are." So again, it's just like a lot of times when I think that with men, it's more of because, okay, I lost my hair. I lost my eyebrows, whatever it may be. It's not just because they want a different hairstyle, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, and I want to tie that in because you made me think about something, how to tie that in with the topic. Are people's preferences really based on their their own insecurities. Is that what, and we kind of talked about, we kind of tidbit touched on that when we were saying about how, some women, may be dark and have a bad experience growing up and want light-skinned kids, so is it that same thing reflected across the board? Are women that say they prefer to date lighter men, do they perceive darker men to be violent because she had an ex that used to beat her up, and
Yeah,
that type of thing.
yeah, yeah. It could be a little projective. It's not. I'm not gonna say that's absolute. It's not an absolute, but it could be let's say 50% in projective. I wouldn't project that. I mean, just based on. All right, look. I'm gonna give y'all an example. This is my anecdotal example. One day I was standing outside the bar smoking a cigarette because you can't smoke a cigarette inside the bar, right? So I'm standing outside the bar, I'm smoking a cigarette. Oh, black guy come running towards me. I instantly get scared. Instantly. Now, fast forward to me standing outside the market, right? Smoking a cigarette, not the same cigarette, but smoking my cigarette. And the white guy run towards me. Did I feel threatened? I just looked at him like he was a fool. Like, you okay? Like, I looked at him like, he all right, But when the black guy was running towards me, I got afraid not only of him, but what the fuck he was running from. I got afraid. It was two different types of being scared. Is that a prejudice?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you just figured if the white dude was running, he was just jogging.
No, I'll say no because I think you've been conditioned. You're just conditioned. I don't think it's a prejudice. Survival can be a prejudice, and it can't be a preference. You just want to survive. It's instinctual. You have no control over it.
But that
Well,
is
I'll say this then.
prejudice.
I'll say this
Well,
real
why
quick.
is the black dude seen as a threat, but not the white dude? That's why I said I think it's an underlining hint of a prejudice there, of self-hatred and conditioning.
Well, I was just gonna say
Go
I
ahead,
must
Jeff.
be prejudiced towards everybody because I don't give a damn what color you are. If you running towards me, I'm locking my door and jumping in my car and I'm getting the hell out the way. I don't give a damn what color you are.
I
So
wasn't
whether you
scared
white,
of
black,
the.
Chinese, I'm concerned.
I was not scared of the white man or what he was running from.
I'm more scared of the white man than I am of the black man. When I get look, I'll give you an example. When I'm going, let's say I'm out shopping, which I don't do often, but if I go out shopping, I will lock my door quicker when I see a white man than I will a black man. I don't trust white men.
I don't trust them either. I just wasn't threatening.
I think but that's the point. A lot of times they don't come across threatening, and those will be the very ones that'll snatch your ass up and have you in Alabama or in Florida on a boat
Missing
going
persons.
somewhere and being sold.
Well, that's how y'all got here. I mean, some of us got here because we thought they was bad.
But that's what I'm saying. They do make up 87-90% of the serial killers in the United States.
Yeah, I
If
don't
you
trust them motherfuckers at all.
want to be worried about somebody,
I don't trust nobody I don't know. I don't trust nobody I don't know. I don't care if you male, female, light skin, dark skin, because I understand the younger generation, they're a little bit more high risk. They're a little bit more on the trying to manipulate and scheme. So I don't trust nobody. I don't loan money out in public. I ain't letting you borrow my phone. I ain't put my hands in my pocket. As soon as I put my hands in my pocket, that's when you got an advantage. Other than that, I've been like that since I was a teenager, walking through my neighborhood, sometime 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. You couldn't come up to me and say, hey, little dude, I'll be done busted your window out in rain. I was that type of dude. I wasn't taking no chances. When I saw the Atlanta murders and I was young, everything changed. I ain't trusting nobody out there. I don't know what y'all got planned. So protect yourself at all costs. Buy some mace, get you a butter knife, do whatever, because there's fools out there today. So yeah, be a little nervous.
Amen. On everybody.
So get a
butter knife. Like I said, when I get in my car, the first thing because nowadays the only time the car will lock is once you turn your ignition and you put it into reverse or drive.
Drive,
Nope.
yeah.
As soon as I get in my car, I hit my lock button. I don't give a damn.
I got a
Okay,
question
ladies
for
and
y'all. I
gentlemen.
got a question for y'all.
Oh, and bear spray is better than mace. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, hold on, wait. Timothy, is what you was gonna say.
I was gonna say we at the 10-minute mark. You know, we kind of then slid off the topic a little bit. So I was gonna say everybody got their closing remarks, and we can get ready to wrap it up because we didn't kind of got away from the topic. But if you got a question that's gonna bring us back, go ahead.
Yeah, I did have a question that was going to bring us back. In the prejudice sense, do you guys think? Let me turn my camera on for this one. Do you guys think that there is in a threat? Do you feel less threatening from women running up towards you than men running up towards you? We still talking about prejudice, Tim. We just talking about, being prejudiced towards random motherfuckers. But do you guys feel that if it was a woman running up towards you, you would feel less threatening? You feel she's less threatening?
No.
Well, as a man, I feel like, this is a woman. Unless she running up with a gun or something, I'll see that she has an advantage over me as a man. But other than that, it's like, I would just be trying to figure out what she's doing.
Me personally, I only say no because in this day and age, I just don't trust people. I don't. And you don't know. Yeah, she could be running up to you. She can appear from the front to look like a damsel in distress, and she can have a gun in her back pocket. I don't know her. I don't know her. I don't know him. And whether it's male, female, don't matter the gender. I just don't trust people.
That's understandable for a female standpoint. I could say for me, I'm not threatened by no female unless she's bigger than me. And I'm a small person. No, I'm small. I'm small. I'm short. I'm 5'4". I'm petite. I'm small. However,
it's because you're a pit bull. That's why.
The gangster in me just be like, no, she can't beat me because she's big. I mean, unless she's bigger than me, I'll be sizing her up. Now, if she's a 6'1", 279 pounds chick, I'm gonna be like, yeah, man, just shut the hell up.
Okay, but here's the thing. A lot of times you have to, and just this is a little bit off, but a lot of times you got to think that if, let's say somebody is really out there trying to scam or trying to cause harm to you, 9 times out of 10, that woman's not alone. And there is somebody lurking in the background just waiting for you to catch the bait. And then all of a sudden, you're not just facing one girl, you could be facing 5 girls, or you can be facing a one girl and 2 guys. You just got to,
I don't necessarily see that as a preference or a prejudice. I just think that's just, like you said, being precautious. And
yeah.
That's just
and that's why I said it's a little bit off, but I did want to mention it because a lot of times, as women, when we see a woman approach us, we're like, oh shit, I can handle that. Then next thing you know, you turn around and you got 7 other people behind her. You didn't even know was there. And then next thing, we got a Carly Russell and we can't find you, So, I'm just putting that out there. Just be careful with that.
I think for a lot of men, especially, as you get older, your views change when you're looking at the generations behind you, like, oh shit, you're crazy. So I gotta watch everything. But I think as a young man, especially a man of color, from what I've seen, for the most part, most guys got a good heart and want to be a saver type of guy, regardless of what age he is. If this guy's on the street that a female will run up to him, they be like, what happened? Where you at? What he do? You know what I'm saying? They looking to engage with whatever the problem could be. But I think, and that just goes to show the nature of us brothers. Most of us got a caring heart anyway. But as you get older, especially as these days move forward, society is getting a little bit more chaotic on all levels. And social media has really started to expose a lot of the mindsets of a lot of people. Like, these motherfuckers, stealing used to be an art. Now it's just a grab bag. So just in that capacity, the tricks they playing on you, stealing your car while you're in it, your baby's in it, I wouldn't trust nobody. I would just always be ready. But keep, what I'm saying, not to say that you don't, you just go around like paranoid, but you have to talk yourself through certain situations. My main goal when I leave the house is to make sure I make it home safe. That's my main goal. I got to run from it, if I got to shoot my way out of it, if I got to drive away, whatever it takes for me to get away, I can deal with the police and the hype of it later. I don't need to see the accident. I can hear about it on the news. Other than that, if I get home safe, I'm okay.
So
And I
my
just
closing
think that doesn't have anything to do with prejudice. That just has to do with you being aware of your surroundings and protecting yourself.
so my closing remark on this topic would be, I think that sometimes preference becomes very prejudice. It can become prejudice. Some people be like, "Oh, well, it's not a prejudice; it's a preference." But sometimes it's just a prejudice, and it's for a good reason for thyself that has it. And I think for a lot of people, certain preferences, it's just like I said. I prefer apples, but it's okay for me to eat oranges sometimes. So I think that's how it goes. That's my closing argument on it.
My stance is pretty much where it was in the beginning. I do not think that preference is prejudice in disguise. I think that prejudice is prejudice and preference is preference, and they can blur depending on the root of what your preference is exactly. Like the example I gave earlier is a black woman says she only dates white men, and you ask her, well, why you only date black men? Because black men got this problem, that problem, this problem. That's not a preference. That's a bitter prejudice from a bitter space. And it goes the same way for men too. For the men that only date white girls, I don't date black women because black women has this problem, that problem. Same thing. It's just coming from a bitter place. It's but like the example I played in the very first video where the young lady was saying, she was a white girl was saying she dated a guy that said he would not be a black girl because of their hair and skin. That was just racist. That wasn't he was trying to hide his racism under the umbrella of preference. And I'll end with that.
I'll just say that I'm exactly on the same page as Timothy is, and it's one thing to have a preference, but when you again, I just agree with you. Like if you're saying, "Oh, I won't date white people," I'm not going to date black men because of this and this, and that, then that kind of borderlines on a prejudice, a bitter, a hatred, a disdain for a race of men. Date who you want to date. Nobody really cares. And like you said, the same with women. So there's definitely a difference between preferences and prejudice.
I like
Trey?
that.
Trey, got some.
Hearing the answers are unique. And I'll speak for 2 seconds real quick. A lot of women go off preference. They prefer to be rich. They prefer to have a docile life. They prefer that. So if you hear it all the time, but the prejudice comes outside of you. You can control who you are prejudiced against, but most of the time we're dealing with prejudice that comes towards us, like somebody doing something to us that showed like, oh, they excluded me because of this or whatever. Or some people benefit because of that prejudice. It's in the light skin, dark skin thing. Some people prefer light skin, some people prefer. That's the preference. But when you actually start doing things to undermine them, then it becomes a little bit more prejudice to me, or get the upper hand in it. So, hey, we all black. We all got big noses, big lips, big wide feet. Love each other. Keep doing it. Don't matter. If you want to be blessed, you better love those who look like you first, because we the only one fighting each other and loving everybody else. Love who look like you first, so we can be stronger in this battle of life. Other than that, man, we all gonna lose the way this shit's going.
Right.
I appreciate y'all, man. I always appreciate y'all. Y'all make us think, man.
Appreciate you for coming on. Teddy, you have anything you'd like to say before closing?
I think that you touched home when you said about how prejudice have more come from stereotype and biases. And I think that's it. I think, yeah, I think really think that's it. I think that's the big difference between both a preference and a prejudice. One has more stereotypical and it's more harsher than the other. But nah, I think everybody was spot on. I was actually just taking notes and to be honest.
Okay, okay, and well, I have to throw this one caveat out there too for the more recent, political identity area. I don't agree with uh, a person that disagrees. How can I word it?
Just shoot.
Yeah, because YouTube will be on you like that. I don't believe that it's a prejudice or a phobia to have a preference that doesn't benefit, that doesn't align, I should say, that doesn't align with the belief of someone else. If a person wants to identify as a certain individual, and another person has the right to disagree, and that's it. That doesn't make them prejudiced or phobic against something. That just means they have the right to think the thoughts in their brain. You have the right to think the thoughts in your brain, and that's okay. It's no one's job to validate you. No one's job to validate you at all. It's your job to be secure and have the confidence within yourself. No one else can give that to you.
I wanted to open up another conversation that will go another hour long. I actually wanted to talk on prejudiceness about when you don't want to identify with a certain race, but you want to take the benefits of it, and cultural appropriation. And because we touched on it, but I know that we're going a whole different segue, and I think that's important because a lot of times, and I mean this with all respect, Miss Fields. I love that you identify as black as being light skinned. I have a good friend who's born in Germany, black as me, Derek, because his parents are stationed there. So yes, U.S. bondship, and he's German. And I say this all the time. Sometimes self-hate is along those lines of prejudiceness. I want to be clear. Sometimes self-hate, and you touched on insecurities, are part of that prejudiceness. So people won't identify, people will act a certain way because it just rubs them the wrong way, and it's not a preference. So, but that goes into another conversation. But I think we could agree to disagree on that one.
We will have a show for you just so we could talk about that.
I was gonna say, if I could respond to you real quick. I'm not even mad at what you said, because what you said holds a lot of truth. A lot of times, especially when you're biracial, when you have different ethnic backgrounds, you tend to appropriate with one or the other depending on who you were raised with, who you were around the most. Now, for me, I'm making this quick. Speaking for myself, I was raised in the community by my black father, with my black family. So I don't know anything else but black. Yes, I know some German. I know a couple of recipes, but that's it. I can make collard greens better than I can make schnitzel. Okay. So, so I understand where you're coming from, but it doesn't necessarily boil down to like a self-hate thing. It's just more about an acceptance thing. But I definitely think that your conversation would be a great further topic to discuss another time.
Okay.
Absolutely. So again, I want to thank everybody for coming on. There's going to be a couple of changes when we come back. We're closed. This is the end of season 1.
This is the end of season 1.
Alrighty, so this is the end of season 1. So we're gonna come back next year. We're gonna maybe it's gonna be a new YouTube channel because we're consolidating the shows. Because I have my show, she has her show. So we're gonna consolidate the shows and have a more conversations with the average black man actual channel instead of 2 separate channels like we've been doing. And we're gonna have a whole new look and a whole new theme and everything. We just
everything is gonna be brand new.
Yeah.
Y'all coming back after the New Year's? This is y'all last separate show. Y'all coming back after the New Year? Or y'all gonna be back next week?
Probably after we're gonna try to take off because everybody gonna have time with their family and stuff like that. You gotta do it like
Yeah, so we coming back. Our new season is airing January the 10th. So it's 2 weeks. We're gonna take 2 weeks off. I think that's 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Is that 3
Right.
weeks?
So let me give y'all. I'm gonna give them a little sneak peek. I'm gonna give them a sneak peek. Let me let y'all look at the new logo coming up. Oh, it ain't letting me show it, but never mind. I'll try to be smooth.
You gotta
Appreciate y'all, man.
All
Appreciate
right.
y'all, man. You know, y'all have a great holiday, New Year. Be safe.
Let me see.
Keep your family
Thank
safe.
you, brother.
Like, can you
Likewise.
move us off to the side, or they ain't gonna let us go off to that?
It ain't gonna let me do it. I gotta do it separately.
All right. Well, thank y'all for joining. This is another more contentious conversation with the average black man. This is the last more contentious conversation with the average black man.
And there's the sneak peek of the blended page right there.
I like it.
No, it's the us thing. You know, it's the us thing. So thank y'all guys for watching. We'll be back January the 10th. We'll be dropping a little a little insight to what the new episode is going to be about. We'll drop the new the advertisement for the premiere show on the 3rd of June. But we ain't coming back to January the 10th, 2024.
And we're gonna just keep watch on the Facebook pages and social media for the information on how to subscribe to the new channel.
Yep.
All righty. Signing off. And thank you for tuning in to More Contentious Conversations with the Average Black Man.